So let's go quickly through the evaluation. And there are some guidelines. You should always be asking these questions. We talked about this. Can this person return to activity daily living, work, sports? What is the percentage of disability, if that is the case? Is he or she giving their best effort? What is their functional capacity today? How much progress has been made in rehab? And this is very important because sometimes we do an initial evaluation and then we go through a whole bunch of rehab and we don't reevaluate. So we need to reevaluate about every 3 weeks or so of treatment. And then how does the injured extremity compare to the non-injured? And that's also very important. There is no book in the planet. Ryan, how old are you?
20.
20. Okay.
47, sorry.
47. There is no book in the planet that tells me that a 47-year-old Taiwanese man can do this or that or this force. So we need to have comparisons either to a task or dominant versus non-dominant, injured versus non-injured, agonistic versus antagonistic. We don't really have norms or task analysis. So those are going to be our comparison methods. Let's go back. Dominant versus non-dominant. If I'm right-handed, I'm going to be about 10% stronger on the right side than I'm going to be in the left side. If I'm left-handed, I'll be 0 to 5% stronger on the left side than the right side. The reason is left-handed people live in a world that's designed by right-handed people. So they need to cut scissors, they need to use right-handed scissors. They can go buy left-handed scissors, but rarely you can find them. I know my son is left-handed, and he hates the world because there's nothing he can do. The injured versus non-injured. So let's go back here, dominant and non-dominant. So we evaluate somebody, and they're right-hand dominant, and their left hand is 40% stronger than the right hand. Well, that's not expected result. So we start seeing that there's something not right. Okay. In the case of occupational therapists and physical therapists, my experience tells me for the last 20 years that because what you do are constantly working with both hands, doesn't matter whether you're at right hand dominant, left hand dominant, you're pretty much even on both sides. All right. That's what I call a vocational imbalance. If I take a badminton player and he's right-handed, I guarantee you that right hand at a professional level is going to be a lot stronger than the left hand. That's a vocational imbalance. For occupational therapists being about the same, it's a vocational imbalance. So you need to understand what they do. Injured versus non-injured. So if I take my measures and it's right hand dominant and I am 30% less, and my injured side still is my hand side is 30%. Now I know where to take it. I need to take it at least 30% higher, because to make it even to the non-dominant side or the injured side. We have agonistic-antagonistic relationships in muscle groups. The most common one is the quad and the hamstring. And we have ratios that have been established. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. So the quad is going to be twice as strong as the hamstring. So if the ratio is off, you also know that. We have a ratio set up for lower back. And so if it's off, that's the agonistic-antagonistic relationship. Again, as I discussed, there's really no norms. And the last one is task analysis. If we know the person needs to lift 20 kilos at work, that's our objective. We need to evaluate if the person is able to do this or not. If not, how much lower it is. Okay? And then we're going to develop a treatment program that increases his ability to lift up to the requirement of 20 kilos. That is task analysis. So when we're doing an evaluation, we're going to be looking at isometric strength for force, dynamic strength for power, and dynamic endurance for work. Those are the 3 basic evaluations. Okay? Now, let's look at what I consider very important information. If we're going to be doing an isokinetic test, keep in mind that's 9 times body weight. Okay? So I weigh 82 kilos. If I'm doing a flexion extension on my knee, the compressive force is going to be about 740 kilos going through that knee. Okay? If I have a weak knee, injured knee, recent operation on that knee, a knee replacement, my knee's not going to like 740 kilos. I guarantee you. I probably will get injured. If I'm looking at a epicondylitis, or if I'm looking at Tommy John surgery, all right? If I start doing isokinetic exercise, and I weigh, 82 kilos, and I'm putting 500 kilos of force in there, that elbow is not going to like it. That shoulder on the rotator cuff is not going to like it. So always keep in mind that you don't want to be applying isokinetic into unstable, injured joints, okay? Because of the compressive force. Speed of movement. Always, always, always exercise at sub-maximal level. Never at a maximal level. This is very important. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And 2, we have 6 men in this room. And we have 7 women in this room. All right? After 20 years, I will tell you that the 5 men in this room, 6 men in this room, were the dumbest people on earth. Okay? Men are stupid. All right? You guys are super smart. So when I look at some maximal loads, the 6 of us go to the gym, and we're going to be looking for the biggest piece of metal. Okay? That's what we're going to do. And at the end of the day, I'm going to go to Ryan or Chen. I'm going to go, I was stronger than you were. All right? After we left the gym. And then I get home, it's like, oh my God, it hurts. Okay? I got hurt. All right? Women are going to listen to instructions. And you're going to pace yourself. So when you're working with a man or a woman down there on the Primus, keep an eye on that. All right? Because men are going to see that machine and they want to kill it. All right? That's what they want to do. And when they're done killing it, they're going to ask you, was I stronger than the guy that just left? That's what it's going to be. So they will try to go above maximum load. They want to, 10 kilos is too little. Give me more. Now, if 10 kilo is the right amount, it's the right amount. Okay? Reliability and validity, you got to do things that are similar to the task. Okay? All right? And then the specificity of training is how power increases, and that's the speed protocol, which is here. Okay? Dynamic lifting. It's an evaluation that we have. This is to determine what is the maximum safe capacity. Not the physical capacity, but the maximum safe capacity. And we'll do that evaluation today with one of you. It is the only evaluation where we don't do an isometric test first. We start at a very low resistance and we do a progressive loading. Okay? Because we're trying to determine what is your maximum safe capacity. I may be able to lift 50 kilos. Is that safe for me? Probably not. I could probably do it about 4 or 5 times. And then I will probably get hurt. Best example I can give you this is Army people. Nobody's born with the capacity to take a backpack that weighs 28 kilos, all right? And then we're going to go run 25 kilometers. Nobody's born like that. But they use a progressive loading technique to get them to go, this is the task. And we need to make, for you to make sure that you can do it in a safe manner. So the maximum safe capacity is not the same as your maximum physical capacity. So if I take that young soldier and I give him a backpack that weighs 26 kilos, poof, yeah, I can do this. All right? And if I send him on a run for 25 kilometers without the backpack, he's going to go, yep, I can do this. But when you combine them both, nobody's born like that. Okay? Nobody. All right? And by the way, he'd probably be able to run it with sneakers and nice shoes, not with boots and 27 degree, 30 degree weather and raining and all of that. So there are 3 standards of lifting: floor to knuckle. They're anthropometric measurements. Knuckle to shoulder, which is from here to here. So, and then shoulder to overhead. Okay? Those are the 3 dynamic tests that are there. The first 2 are the most commonly used. This one, because of the high risk for injury, shoulder to overhead, is rarely used in safe work environments. At home, is used quite often. That's what we do very common at home. What's the difference? That this weighs a lot less than this. So usually are things that are light that we grab, put up there. Okay?